In fact, one of my friends in the audience said this is really ironic, and our theme is the Yes Men Cometh. And the strange part is it's an all-women's panel. So how's that? Anyways, and I think Ravi will put us in a tight spot because we are going to talk about offering everything on a platter, standardized curriculum, custom-made solutions, tailor-made programs, and you had a lot of them speak about it and flaunt their stuff here. So I hope I won't be mobbed outside and have a regular Kambal parade. You know what a Kambal parade is? Okay, wrapping up somebody in a Kambal. I'm sure some of you who've been associated with the army will know what a Kambal parade is. So I don't want that. So this is just going to be an open discussion. The panelists, please feel free to express what you feel about the theme. So who are the yes men? People who will conform, people with little gumption, people with no originality, people with few opinions. These are people who will move ahead, but they'll do nothing very significant. In fact, I just want to bring up this context. The yes men, in fact, are a duo, a culture jamming activist duo called Jacques Servin and Igor Vamos, who use tactical media to raise awareness. They speak about problematic social, political issues. They impersonate people they dislike, and they feel that they need to use lies to expose the truth. So these are the yes men. And they believe by doing this, they are indulging in what is called identity correction. We just had somebody speak about board map programs, animated videos, challenge quizzes, just about everything you need to be able to execute so-called classroom transaction. So how would we as educators interpret the term yes men? Customized curricula, academic, co-scholastic, tailor-made programs, we just saw so many of them. Aligning ourselves to sports academies. And more often than not, I suspect, to market ourselves, which we do as schools. The honest truth is this. A fixed pattern, a standardized pattern of assessment, so-called very well thought out and very well researched pedagogies that we want to transact in the classrooms. So are we really yes men? Let me start by asking Vasudha about what her view is on these on-the-platter solutions, so to say. We are actually being offered a lot of solutions here on the platter, Ravi. So over to Vasudha.
Thank you, Neeta. I will start with my favorite quote. Can't read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. So that's about it. We are talking about pedagogical changes, but not many of us know that pedagogy is also now an obsolete term. The new term is andragogy and pedagogy. Andragogy is something where it's completely based on student-centered learning that completely revolves around the student, and the teachers are the facilitators, not the teachers like chalk and talk method we do in the classrooms. Teachers, I belong to a Cambridge school, have spent around 15 years with Cambridge education. So we are taught to involve the learners and engage them with the Cambridge learner attributes. And my dear friends, we can only do or only give what we have. So if we as facilitators, as teachers, we are engaged, we are open to learning, then only we can serve that to our students. The other term is pedagogy, which talks about self-directed learning. We motivate our students to learn ourselves. So when we motivate our students to learn themselves, so I don't think we need this on this platter service that would say, because they will create themselves what they want to learn. They will always feel that. So I will just give an example here. There's a quote that I have heard, some mentors using it, that we can take horse to the water, we cannot make him drink it. But I think we can ignite that trust in our children. And all the people sitting here are the rule makers. They are the principals, they are the promoters of the schools. So if we empower our teachers, then only this change is going to happen. To training being obsolete now, but who has done it? And I think B.Ed is only the training that I used to joke around in our previous session also, that comes with no expiry date. Once a teacher, always a teacher. So I would just narrate a small story here, and then you will know that what I mean. There was a woodcutter, and he wanted to increase his productivity of cutting woods, cutting trees. And he actually worked very hard. But he realized at the end of the month that his productivity had increased, though he was working very hard. And then he went to find out why it was that. And we came to know that his saw wasn't sharpened. So it's time that we need to hone our skills. And we cannot be in tomorrow's business with yesterday's tools. So we have to. We are the change setters, we are the trend setters, we have to empower our teachers, and we have to enable and empower our students. When we empower our students, I think then only the things will change. And I would end with my favorite quote of Benjamin Franklin. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I will learn. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're here to learn. And of course, about teacher training, you can't be indulging in tomorrow's business with yesterday's tools. So I think these are two very significant points that you brought up, Asudha, and very, very pertinent. Going on to the next thing, I would like to ask Ms. Meera Isaac, when we take these customized solutions, so to say, how do they impact student learning? Straight jacketing like this, do you think it impacts the student learning adversely?
Thank you for this opportunity. Before I answer your question, I really want to say that we had the second day of very interesting talks, and especially this morning, I thought it was absolutely tremendous. But when we talk about straight jacketing and we are talking about the final analysis is the marks that the kids get, which is a very, very sad thing, but that is God's honest truth. And so I really wish that, Ravi, you had invited all the various members of the education boards.
I think some are there, Meera, if I'm
They
not
are?
mistaken. There's Cambridge, and
Okay,
there's IU.
okay, and
Yeah, there's Cambridge and
but if the
IU.
Indian boards had been here, then maybe we would have made a little more sense to them, because they need to be here, part of the discussion on this platform, getting to understand what all of us are fighting and trying to do. The final analysis, of course, that there is just, the parents want the marks, the kids want the marks, and unfortunately the schools want the marks at the end of the whole show. Let's be very, very practical about it. But yes, what we have learned here today and what we have spoken about here today is, I think, very important. But yes, if you're talking about there's one size that fits everybody, certainly not. When you give customized stuff, that's exactly what we are talking about. That's exactly what we are doing. But a certain amount of standardization in a country like ours, I'm talking specifically about India, a country like ours, where there's so many children, millions of children, how do you have some sort of equal grading? I think maybe that's the reason we have it, but I don't think any of us are fans of it. All of us want something different. And I think what we can really do is take from the various international boards that have come into the country and to make an amalgam of that. At the moment, we are really preaching to the converted, right? Because I think all of us do that. All of us in our particular schools are doing just that. up to standard 8, isn't that what we're doing? We're taking a whole lot of stuff that we think is going to help our children and give them also a very, very sound value system that we spoke about this morning. But a standard 10 child or a standard 12 child just has to be able to get the marks which gets them into another sphere altogether. And we may want to deny it, we may dislike it, we may say whatever we want against it, but until that changes, we are stuck with that. Right?
In fact, I'd like to add to that. If we talk about the national curriculum, yes, I think we need to go through the rigor of a 3-hour pen and paper test. Immaterial, whether a student performs well in those 3 hours will actually eventually determine where the child progresses. But I would give credit to the international curricula for this, that they have devised a lot of solutions by adding a quantum to the kind of assessments that are done. There are varied assessments, different kinds of assessments. There are portfolios and exhibitions and so on and so forth, based on the ability of the children. So your performance is not just based on the 3-hour examination.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I would say the international curricula that way fortunately have an edge over the national curriculum.
So that's exactly what all of us are doing. We're all moving into that.
Yes.
We're all moving
although I think the national curriculum also is trying to revamp itself.
It needs to revamp itself. That's exactly what.
Yeah. Going on to Shukla, would you like to add anything else?
I just want to say one thing. Despite all the standardization that we speak about, we still have very brilliant children. Look at this young man there. Who would ever have thought that somebody who has done an Indian curriculum would be able to do the kind of lovely stuff he's doing out there? You know, that's fantastic.
Right. So Shukla, my question to you is, this one size fits all, as Meera said. Does it really work in real life?
Okay, before I answer that, I'd like to be my characteristic self, which is be provocative. I think the topic is fantastic because really we are a herd of yes. It's our history as well as our Indian character that has made us the yes men. Of the years of foreign rule, feudal history likes to have a lot more followers, and followers are yes men who do not want to shake the system, who want to be safe, and therefore we are soon going to be stereotypes, one size fits all. But I mean, when I started Parikrama after 26 years of corporate life, I started my non-profit organization from my kitchen table with my life savings. My idea and my ambition was to shake the system. Okay, and I realized the first thing that little kids from the slum did was to salute you every time when you came to school or when they came to school, because that was their idea of showing respect. Now, we had to shake that system and say, you never salute to anyone. I mean, I've been in the hotel industry for a very long time, and I have made the doorman stop saluting in the industry that I was in. And I hate children saluting superiors, because there is no superior. And I say the only thing you salute, the only entity you salute is the national flag. You don't salute anybody. And you have to bring in that sense of self-worth in children. And it begins irrespective of which children. I think in India, we make a great mistake of confusing respect with reverence. You can respect people, but you don't have to revere them. And when you revere them, you put them in a pedestal, and you think just because they are authority, they are your teacher or they are your principal, you cannot question them. I think new ideas, innovations begin with questioning. And we need to start questioning. We need to start questioning who's governing us. We need to start questioning our trustees. We need to start questioning our teachers. We need to start questioning our children. And then only will there be no yes men.
I would say yes, but the paradox is, one hand we want our students to be open-minded, thinkers, risk takers, and people who would question the status quo. But the moment they start to question, we look about it as badge of defiance. So I think there seems to be some kind of a disconnect there for some strange reason. So as you said, let us not get confused between reverence and respect. So deference for somebody should not become, servility. That is not, you can't confuse the two. So encouraging students who are open-minded, students who will ask questions, because these are the kind of students who will stimulate a teacher to perform better than he or she has been performing. Now, coming to you, Sonal, I'd like to know, with these customized on-the-platter solutions, as we call them, do you think they kill creativity, spontaneity, on the spur of the moment solutions?
Well, before I answer you, I would like to state my experience. First of all, I always are what teach you pretty well about life. See, this word result used to be there. There used to be a scare always, the fear I've had during those school times. So when this fear is there, I think I'm not trying to be myself. I'm trying to learn because I have to reach there. I'm trying to catch hold of the information because there is a predetermined or predefined outcome out of that education pattern. So I normally question myself that if education is all about delivering the predefined outcomes and results, is it education at all, if it is? Yeah. And then by this, what I need to say is, isn't it possible for all of us, being educators and teachers, not just tag us as, oh, I am a teacher, oh, I am a parent? Can we first be human beings? Because we all are blessed with a similar kind of brain structure. So we all come from the same background and same biology. So is it that we can just question ourselves that we can be ourselves first of all in the classrooms before expecting this out of the child to be that way? So it's about, I really like the way you said, it's about shaking the system you said, but then when I talk about myself, the field I come from, I talk on behaviors, I talk about shaking your own self first. It's about shaking your own belief system first. Why am I behaving in a particular way? Why is that I'm not being able to bring back that richness in the classroom? Why is that I'm not able to give enough opportunities to the children to be themselves, to explore, maybe to experiment, maybe to fail, to commit mistakes over and over again? And also, why I'm not giving them opportunity to pull themselves, their friends around and push forward, knock down and then get up from there and then reflect possibly that what did I do to myself, and then take out what worked for me and what did not work for me and carry that process and that life of learning. So I feel somehow the whole journey has to come from the child about learning. It's not me as an educator maybe or a school leader who can ever design learning. It has to come from the child. So there are the set parameters. Okay, I agree, a curriculum is important. A set standard is important. But then can the child be given that autonomy to take it forward? Because down the line, it is his life. It is his learning. It is not all about me. So can I just knock my habits of mind when I'm there in my classroom, my state of mind when I'm there being with the children and not for the children? That's where I come from. So I've always believed to be with the crowd, with the children, and when I'm trying to be that as an educator, is where I'm trying to future pace, maybe. So if a child is there not scoring so well, which is the biggest concern nowadays, can I be with the child, understand, acknowledge, relate, connect, so that the child can come back and be with me and try to take that, embark on a journey of that vehicle and then kind of accelerate from there and pace up the future. I think that core and that chord is not yet touched in our education system.
That's right. I think what you said, particularly about changing ourselves, the change is we.
Absolutely.
If we start to change, I'm sure things will start to change.
It's inward, it's never outward.
Do we have time for audiences? Ravi, do we have time for the audience, or are we done? So we don't have time? Right, so shall we close this then? But anyways, if there are any one or two questions that we could address, we'd be happy to do that. Anybody? Okay. Please.
Vasudha. Like from yesterday's discussions and everywhere till now, I have been hearing that teacher training institutes have become obsolete. My just a request is that, has anyone bothered to look into the curriculum of the teacher training institutes? And there are a variety of institutes, various institutes, which are working long back on constructivism. When I was a teacher educator, and then I stepped into the school, I was surprised to see that the teachers don't even know about the NCF 2005. And right from 2005, we are just discussing about implementing it. So I think there is an important need to establish meaningful links between teacher training institute and the schools over here.
Thank you for the question, Yojana.
Right.
I would answer to this in a daily basis, and you are absolutely right. When we also come to the schools and when we see that our teachers are not knowing about the new Bloom's taxonomy or what is activity-based learning is all about. So I'm not saying that, but thanks to the Cambridge curriculum, we are doing the curriculum for the teachers training also, the curriculum for the students learning also. That has been revised every 2 years. And the key word, as you rightly said, is implementation. So, see, the skills to be an effective teachers remain the same. Whether it is a Cambridge curriculum, whether it is a NCF curriculum, whether it is a national curriculum. So I think there is a need for collaboration between whatever the CBSE think tank and the Cambridge think tank, because ultimately we are working for the students and we are working for the teachers. Since yesterday, I will just share, we have been listening about that there has been discussions on CBSE making grade 5 and grade 8 as board exams. Now, God forbid that now if the 5th grade also has the grades, or the percentages or marks, so we have had it. The pressure that we are putting on child on grade 10 now starts from grade 5 and grade 8. So the solution that Cambridge has for us, we have our checkpoint examinations. Maybe if there are some policy makers of CBSE or NCF, they can take it from here. That there we get a complete analysis of each child's strengths and weaknesses in each area. So there is no pass, there is no fail, there is no distinction, there is no merit. But we are actually tracking the progress of each child. The second point is that I also heard about something about happiness curriculum. Headmaster PPS Nabha is not here right now, but we were discussing about that his school got the best as best happiness quotient in one of the surveys. The children were very happy. I mean, if we have a CBSE now, we have a happiness curriculum for the children, so I think we have lost it completely. Let the children be happy the way they are. Let the teachers be happy the way they are. So we have to have smiling faces in the morning, when we see our teachers or when we greet our teachers. And yes, there needs to be a lot of collaboration, I would say, because everybody, whether it is Cambridge, whether it is IB, whether it is CBSE, national curriculum, we are working for the best interest of Indian education system. That is the bottom line. Thank you.
So I'm indulging. The whole thing about particularly about the teacher training that we were listening to. You know, nothing new has really happened. Yesterday, we did hear about Gijubhai Vadika. I'm making an observation, is that allowed? Okay, not a question really, but if there's some discussion that follows, I'll be grateful. So, we heard about Gijubhai Vadika. You don't need any other book. Just a small book, diagonally read for 45 minutes is all that it takes to read that book. And there's another book which reads just 45 minutes again, which is called The Children's Story. And if we read these two books, I think there's enough to tell us that over the past, 100 years, if not more, this is relevant. And teachers training is all about wanting to have the passion to make the difference. If you have the passion, and if you always audit yourself saying, has the transaction been complete? Have we actually delivered? Is the child working with you towards his goals and our goals? Then I don't think, no matter what curriculum you give me, there will not be a standardization because we are bringing out the best in that child through any subject. And I think we have enough examples today which says that somebody who pursued chemistry could have been the best cook in the world. Somebody who has pursued science could have been the best swimmer and artist. There is enough of this in the world to understand that. I think all that we teacher educators need to influence, if we are in influencing positions, we need to influence, is that let the child be. However, whatever we learn as teacher leaders, can we make it possible to spread through the school? We create passion for teachers, I think, is the only way forward, whether it's curriculum, delivery, exams, and if only our assessment reporting can change, things will be so much better.
Thank you, Mrs. Vaidyanathan. I think well said. We'll close this session with the way Mrs. Vaidyanathan has clinched it. The attitude is everything. So let's change our attitude, and I'm sure it will percolate to the children, and great learning will happen. Thank you for being a wonderful audience.
Good round of applause, please, everyone. Thank you everyone. Anyone from the team or from the crew,